Appreciate it, guys. So I'm just going to get started right away. Thank you guys for coming to the second community meeting of 4.0. It's June 17th, 2023. I would like to thank all of you guys for coming. We really appreciate all of the feedback that you guys have been giving and for keeping most chats constructive and moving towards the same goal. It's very important that you guys continue to do that and helping us decide that the path that we want to take with the server. It's helping with mostly everything, including bringing new people in, gaining donations, and people doing their jobs and creating character development that, has really been a goal of ours since we started up the new server, is that everyone has a good character and that we have been seeing results of that. Thank you to our developers, King Zeus, Blaze, Micus, and RVX for helping us achieve these goals. Without them, we wouldn't be where we're at. So big appreciation to those guys. Those of you who are back from any hiatus of any kind, aka maybe you've been banned, we appreciate you coming back and continuing to be mature. You don't understand how much it helps, like not being toxic to new players and stuff like that. It really helps us grow, keeps people coming back. We have LEOs quite active, as well as medics. The cafe's even been open, and Burger Shot's been open over the last month. Most functions of the city are being taken care of, and you guys really stepped it up, at least since the last meeting. We want to continue to encourage players to help bring up our numbers, and our activity is better than we've even expected ourselves, and we want to continue down that path. That's why your suggestions have been so important. We've listened to your feedback, and that is going to be the majority of what will be discussed today in the meeting. So we have added a number of new things like the home menu and the F10 guide. We hope that will help you guys in your RP. If you can, do everybody a favor and point new players in that direction. Just tell them there's an F10 menu that will teach you a lot, and then new players can go through that. We would also like you guys to encourage everyone to focus on their attention on staying in character. There are still some small issues that have been talked about out of character, or about things like Discord or development or IRL stuff that we would like to try and resolve in game. There's an obvious extent at which this is permitted, of course, but try and build your characters and stick with it. Metagaming currently is still the number one priority as a staff team in and out of game. I'm guilty of it myself, and we have all made the mistake of using our Discord names or your gamer tags in reference to our characters. Like, I still sometimes will walk up to Brian and say, "Yo, what's up, Brian?" And his name's Jason in game. So we need to try and, use our character names a little bit better and learn those rather than just, walking up to Brian and saying, "What's up, Brian?" So getting out of character and using those Discord names is something we need to try our best not to do. Please make sure to deafen in your Discord calls if you're together, gaming together. We will be paying way more attention to this type of behavior and warning, kicking, and banning from a staff team's perspective. That's, again, number one priority at the moment. That's what's gonna help you guys create those characters and encourage good RP that's done over the radio, the phones, and talking in person. Rather than, some of the problems that can occur with Discord. Obviously, we can't stop it to a full extent, but just try your best to, not metagame. There's also an issue overall with people gatekeeping how to do illegal jobs or profiting off of the less knowledgeable or new players. Please stop being greedy. And instead, you should either make them work for it, do some deals, but don't just keep the location fully to yourself for your own profits. If people ask you about it, it should be just a community thing that we start encouraging people to go and do certain illegal jobs. Some things will be still kind of more hush hush, like, for example, the weed drying place. Okay, obviously, not many people know about where that is, but that information will be coming out to you more and more frequently. And especially for a new player who doesn't know, there will be riddles in the F10 menu in the future that will point people in the direction of those jobs, like heroin and oxy runs. that are quote unquote starter illegal jobs. Those will be just open sort of to the public in a sense that it's not going to tell them exactly the location, but it'll give you a hint as to how you can to do that illegal job, for example. So again, if you don't mind not keeping those to yourself and maybe spreading those out a little bit more, that will be very beneficial for everybody. Another thing that we have issues with is that a lot of people do not like the supercar meta, so to speak. So more variety of vehicles should try to be used throughout the city. One of the issues that plagues us is that everyone has a supercar, or at least the majority of the people who are here every day. That's obviously how we get our donations. And it's okay to have those. We're not saying, oh, it's bad to have a supercar, but if you don't have to use it all the time, potentially try something different, like a muscle car or a sports car or a drift car, something just to add a little more variety to the city. As well, please do your best not to commit robberies in these vehicles. If it's too fast and just instantly gets away from the police, it's not fun for anybody, especially when SWAT shows up on like a jewelry store, for example. And like the Hayabusa was in the past, it was just, you do a wheelie and 0 to 200 almost and dip through a couple alleyways and you're gone. Easy as pie, 120K, boom. So that's a little bit of an issue. If you can try your best not to do those robberies, it would be more fun. It would be more of a chase. It would be more of a fair fight for both sides. We will continue to have run and gun tactics and results in bad gameplay overall if we don't, try and change some of these things. We're going to get into some rules later that are going to be changed regarding LEOs and some of the things that you guys had suggested. But we see those main problems as major problems that need to be resolved if we want to, remain solid as a community as a whole. One thing as well that we're missing as a community is lacking in creative RP. I've had complaints from my medics lately, and it's in their timesheets, and not just medics, but as a whole, things aren't as creative as they used to be. So please try and improve your scenes and use emotes and communicate properly with everybody. If it's medical RP that you don't enjoy, we're not going to force you to do that. But try your best to be realistic with your ailments, etc. We would also like most people to try and stay on their characters as long as possible to help facilitate RP for everyone. The more creative and the longer that you stay on your character results in more opportunities for RP for everyone. If things get boring, obviously feel free to switch. We talked about this in the last community meeting. So overall, we just want people to be known for who their characters are. It's very important to us that people are known for their RP. It's what brings people back. What's going to happen with this group today? People used to have those thoughts when they were coming into the city, and we want that to come back in a big way. We definitely want to encourage you guys to do good RPs and stuff that hasn't been done in a while, etc. That's why we're bringing in stuff like fire so that people can see that. So it's very important for us to know who you are for your RP. It's what keeps people coming back, and we need to show love to everybody else as well, to not selfishly have RP, but also give it to others. This isn't an MMO where you go in your car all by yourself with your own little storage and you just go pick heroin and don't talk to anybody and just grindstone. It's not what we want to encourage. That's why the money for things have gone up and up and up. Okay. At least the payouts. Don't be afraid to talk to others and try your best to at least, if you're when on duty as an org, apologies, you must try and stay on that character in order to fulfill your role in the city. Don't be afraid to talk to others and try your best to at least stay 15 minutes open at Burger Shot, for example, and that will attract customers. You don't have to stay there every hour on the hour and be there the entire time you're on, but maybe once an hour, show up for 10 minutes and post an ad. But try to spend time there instead, like Spoons has done with the Uwu Cafe and kind of made that like a hangout spot for his group. That brought a lot of people there very quickly. everybody wanted to take advantage of the uwu food, and we can definitely have that happen again. So maybe try and spend some time there and then go do what you need to do for 45 minutes and then come back for 15 minutes maybe on the hour. That would be dope. But you can make announcements for the ads of the times that you are open and closed, which is an idea that somebody had recently, was that when you post an ad, just make sure that you stay there and post the time that you're not going to be there anymore, so that when somebody sees the ad, they could be like, oh, they're closed now. I missed the ad, but then they'll know maybe it'll come back open again in the next hour. So if you work at any of these organizations, or you guys are having like a bar situation or something like that, just try and stay there, post an ad about it, etc. And that's really all I have for like the community issues, so to speak. The next part, just a quick talk about the media team and event coordinator positions. Congratulations to Brian Duggs. You are appointed to media team director. We wish you the best of luck in this role. And in your place of event coordinator, Joker 4200 will be promoted to that position. So we hope that you guys are able to garner all of the help that you need from Javin, Blaze, Joker, anybody else who's good with content creation, etc. This is one of the most important things for us, as it's very much needed to bring new faces to the community. I think Brian told me recently that we hit 75,000 views on our YouTube channel. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So if we can harness a little bit of that, that watch time to create new players for the community, that would be absolutely significant in importance to, it needs to be at the forefront of our current goals. That will help us grow the most. Please help Brian with this. As a community, we need to gather clips. You guys should be recording most of the time. Please download Metal TV. There are some of you that are making support tickets, okay, for items that you don't have a screenshot for, or B, a video of disappearing. And I know that sometimes that's not possible, but you guys need to be taking pictures of your inventories if you want to get those items back if they disappear. I can't just trust everybody on their word all of the time, because people like to take advantage of my friendliness. So you guys need to start having the proof of the items available to staff team so that management can comp you accordingly. I can't just go on your guys' words anymore, because otherwise it's going to continue to like boost the economy up more than it needs to be. So Shadowplay, Metal TV, AMD has its own software. You could also use OBS. Okay, that's going to record your gameplay for staff situations, for social media content, and we just have to gather those clips. Donations. I hope that you all can see that Zaki is very interested in everything working out. We have spent over $1,000 of all donor money for the server, and putting it back into the community, all while trying to make this as transparent as possible. If we want this community to survive, and most of us do, we'll have to continue to gain traction in player base and donations. And we want to make it clear that if you want to start an org, that the scripts don't necessarily need to be purchased ahead of time. In fact, we discourage you purchasing scripts without having confirmation that they're going to be added, because it puts a lot of pressure on us as a management team that we have to add your thing because you paid for it. That's not how it's going to go. We are going to try and decide the best path that we want to go. And Zaki has a family to feed and a job, and this cannot become something that we have to pay for out of pocket. The community is all of ours, and we all are contributing, and we just want to make sure that we do the things that you guys want to do while also maintaining kind of like a nice plateau of where we're at. We've added as much as we can to make the server fun, and we want to remind you that there is a plethora of things to do. You guys have the power to start a revolution in terms of RP with your groups, and not just do public jobs or whatever. You all can find something to do. because a lot of things that we have heard recently is that there's nothing to do. Well, as a management team, we just completely disagree. There are lots of things to do. It's whether or not you guys are wanting to, make it fun and make it more of a thing that it is, and encourage that RP with groups and people to tag along with what you're doing. So that being said, special thank you to all of our donors, especially the Tibet subscriptions. You guys know who you are. These donations specifically pay for the box and the Windows key, the Tibet subscriptions. But that does not cover the Tibet's costs or any of the subscriptions for Gabs, No Pixel Maps, or K4 Maps, and like new additions, like casino robbery, stuff like that. We need to try our best to generate more income and have more incentives that people want to buy. So therefore, we really need some ideas to promote our subscriptions and our personals. If you guys have any, please submit them. If we want to continue to add to what we have now, we will need new ideas for donation items. If you guys could make a thread in the suggestions channel and add to it what you would think would be some good ideas to make changes to the donor shop, subscriptions, or anything along those lines. Feedback from the last community meeting. So we've made some great progress. We changed our name back to Shoreline. I know that a majority of you are happy with this. Don't be afraid, and please continue to apply for orgs. Understand that your application must be pretty much flawless at this point in time in order to get accepted. We have a lot of orgs that need work, and some of the people who are in those orgs will be changed. And some people, like Toe, for example, will change hands. Only orgs that will be accepted moving forward must be met with a high standard. Current orgs that do not see use will cease to exist over time. So you will not be instant denied for any application, and for purchasing scripts, again, is not required. In fact, don't purchase a script before you are approved for your org. We are trying our best as a management team to be all on the same page. One of the concerns that you guys had last time was that there wasn't a whole lot of trust in the management team, and that was reiterated again this week. However, we are all on the same page with our decisions, and we try our best to get in meetings and talk about what our issues are, and we all go through it so that we can make decisions as a team. We go through all the suggestions, we go through all the applications, and sometimes it takes longer than all of you want, and you don't get word back on your stuff right away. But we want to do the right thing and make the right decisions, and that takes time to discuss between all of us. We all have lives and jobs, etc. We are trying our best, but let us get together for our meetings and report back to the community like this. Sometimes takes a couple months to gain all of these things. But we want to make most of our decisions as a team, and we are confident that will help lead us the best. Communication is most important part of how we function, and it is important that communication between management and the dev team is as prevalent as can be. And currently, over the last couple of weeks, it's been pretty constant. We're not going to go back to what a mess 3.0 was. We're not going to do it. That was a disaster, and we are trying to be as transparent as possible. So if you have any questions regarding, donations or the money system or Tibex or anything like that, just feel free to ask. We'll give you the information that you need. We are very committed as a team to making this work. So please don't think otherwise. We are committed. Okay. We wouldn't still be a community if we weren't. We have long work to make everything as balanced as we can as well, and we will continue to do just that. The cars that you have complained about over the last few weeks have either been removed or adjusted to fit the current city, and we hope you are happy with that development. For example, there was a huge complaint a couple months ago about DPS vehicles and them being quote unquote overpowered, or they were too fast or too fast acceleration, whatever. The Ram TRX comes to mind. Things like that have been nerfed. But again, from a LEO perspective, it seems like run and gun tactics are back. Sometimes, guys, you just got to take the L. All right. Both sides of the table. LEOs sometimes have to take the L, and civs, if you get caught, that's just how it goes sometimes. Okay. We have to be more open to maybe potentially losing a scenario. Okay. It's not necessarily about winning or losing. Sometimes, serving the time or losing the chase is necessary for continued RP over the day, right? Because if somebody loses a scene and they're unhappy with how it went down, they just quit the game. The grind is definitely improved. We've increased the payout for every job. The stimulus when you first start, some of the things it's just easier to get money now. I hope that you guys, are enjoying that. There seems to be, an over influx a little bit into the economy. That's why when we first started, some of the cars were like 200K plus. We knew it was going to happen eventually. That's why those cars and the housing, for example, are so expensive, so that you do have something to work towards. Still, though, some people are still obsessing about their items, their inventory, and their money in the bank. Let's just relax a little bit and enjoy our time together and come up with more creative scenes. Most people now are at a point where they don't have to grind anymore. That should be the best part of the wipe. Okay, it's right now. But for the most part, it should be easy for you guys after a couple of days to get enough money for a nice car and the items that you want. We're all here for entertainment. Don't be afraid to entertain. Some upcoming changes that are going to happen. So food items. We know that you guys are upset with unable to stack these items. However, that's not going to change. It's going to be one meal, one item per meal or whatever, like one sandwich, one item in your inventory, same with water, etc. So instead of having 100 burgers in your pocket, we'll make a change for the food to make it last a lot longer. So you'll be able to eat 1 or 2 pieces of uwu food, maybe 3 or 4 pieces of gas station food, and that will cover your entire day of being on the server, or maybe at least 2 hours of that time. Okay, so we're going to extend the length of which food lasts. That way you'll have to go to the store 1 time per time that you're in the city. So instead of having to go over and over and over again, you'll have to only carry a couple pieces of food on you the entire time. However, that means that the prices of the food will go up based on the effect. Full-time mechanic will be on hold until we get more population and more active medics. That was a suggestion that you guys had. If we could set autos potentially, and tuner shop to make sure that mechanics are present there when they're on duty. Whereas Hayes Auto, for example, can just do cosmetics like it is now. So we're not completely shutting down the idea of a full-time mechanic. It is potentially going to be added in the future when there are more mechanics and more active members of the community as a whole. Then we will be able to make those changes without any issues. Some other future changes that I'd like to talk about quickly: fire rescue subdivision incoming, AMR medical changes. So there'll be a new medical system soon. Hopefully it works. And that will kind of remove /me's from a civ's perspective. And it will allow medics to fully see everything that's wrong with you when they show up. So that's a huge change. New weed dispensary incoming as well. That will have control of some of the weed market and some of the items required to grow weed on your own, as well as different strains, hopefully. That'll be very fun. I'm excited for that, of course. Restart changes might be coming as soon as well, but need to be discussed further regarding the raid siren and the tsunami rain type deal. We're thinking about removing that. It's a bit of an annoyance at this point. Was cool at the beginning. I think everybody's pissed off about it now. So that will probably be removed soon. The tackle script hopefully is going to be improved as well, so people can't just spam tackle people, been happening a lot. Try and limit your spam tackling, please. I know it's funny every once in a while, but if you do it over and over again, it gets really annoying. Increase speeds for all LEO vehicles to keep up with the supercars that everybody's complaining about. So that way you don't have to use a charger all the time. You can use a different vehicle. It will still be able to keep up to an extent. Police wanted a chill area, off-duty police outside of a PD, using an MLO of some kind that's already in to facilitate the RP for off-duty officers. That's a potential add. What Dynasty 8 can do now is they can set doors on MLOs. So if the police find an MLO that they'd like to use for their quote-unquote chill spot, for off-duty officers, maybe find one of those and have your O1 purchase that property. Another change that's going to happen in regards to staff and management is that we're going to be setting some of the admins up with very specific jobs. So one of the admins will be a support team leader. One of the admins will be like a Discord moderator. One of the admins will do different jobs. We haven't exactly decided what those responsibilities will be just yet, but it will give those positions more direction as to what they do. For example, admins right now kind of only approve and deny orgs and work as like staff team leaders. So we want you to have more direction in those positions. And that's really the end of the future changes that we can see. There's a new post-op job, and I believe there are some robbery changes and some other things. Definitely look forward to that. So we want to get your opinion on when we should do a wipe. So keep in mind, we are a little bit far from that point at this moment. It will be in about 2 to 3 months in either August or September, as we believe right now it would be pretty detrimental to have everyone start over. As well, potentially pay to win with everyone having personal vehicles. The average bank account of most players sits around 100 to 200K. Obviously, they probably have some assets, but when we go and take a look at a lot of the players' bank accounts, everyone's right around 100K to 200K. Some people, obviously, if you play a lot, you have way more than that, but just as an average, most people still have something to buy and to look forward to. We finally completed all the Dynasty 8 stuff, so if you're looking to buy a house, actually the best way to get a hold of me to buy that house is in my DMs. I really don't look at the org Discord as much as I should, but if you want to get a house, please DM me. We have a bunch of new shells added. They're very cool. So you can contact Zeus, Fools, or myself to get yours. Most of the time, Zeus and Fools prefer it in the Realtor request channel, and I prefer it in my DMs, please. Next thing I wanted to talk about was faction-specific rules. And this is going to go over some of our server rules as a whole. Medics will remain a neutral faction. This decision has been made by ownership, by Zaki himself. It is unrealistic RP otherwise. A medic's job is to facilitate your RP in the community, and therefore it's worked since our inception. And why break what's not broken? Medics are going to remain a walking green zone, basically. I know that's going to disappoint some of you potentially looking for a change, but as it stands currently, it doesn't fit our goals. Rule 4.1, impersonation. Police impersonation can be a great RP and creative. However, this type of RP in our community has never worked. Okay, somebody gets angry about it or feels like it's unfair or it was unfair. So, and also as well as neither robbing or kidnapping medics. Currently, with the lack of RP overall in the server, and also based on the look that LEO departments currently have from civilians, meaning that their reputation is kind of poor from both perspectives. So LEO has a poor aspect on how civs are going to act, and civs have a poor judgment of how LEOs are going to react. And there seems to be little differentiation between the two groups. Again, that means that LEOs and civs are kind of acting the same. We do not want to go back to run and gun, 100K or die type behavior. Okay, so therefore, police impersonation will not become a changed rule. It's still going to be against the rules to impersonate police officers. Rule 4.3, LEO and robbing LEOs. The reason for this rule was when there was only one officer on duty, they were robbed repetitively, leading them to F8 quit because of the stress, lack of respect, ability to conduct any police work whatsoever. And also, people use this as a quick way to gain an automatic weapon. There's no real reasons behind any of this action. And it's definitely not good RP. You know, you rob a cop because you want their automatic firearm. That's not a good enough reason. So potentially in the future, you know, we might add the ability to rob LEOs when other LEOs are on duty. But as of right now, we would just rather maybe get your guys' opinions as to why, specifically why you want to be able to rob LEOs, and it has to be a good reason. Okay. Currently, though, you know, police cars can be stolen, and items in the vehicle, if left there, also can be stolen. An example of this would include, you know, if an officer leaves his vehicle unlocked and unattended or unsupervised, or is parked on the street vacant, you know, within reason, can be stolen. And if there is an item in there, that can be taken. We can't prevent that. That won't become a rule, but the rules will be amended for this change specifically. And remember that, you know, police HQs are green zones, so you can only RP there really if you're being arrested, meaning that you can't invade the police station and all premises, including the parking lot. Like, you can't just walk up to a police parking lot and steal their cars. Another quick thing I'd like to mention about Rule 4.3, it's actually a different rule, but it's going to be added. You know, it used to be a rule before, but you cannot run up on an active scene. If you're not involved with that scene and it's already started, and, you know, you're in a different group and not on the radio or the phone of that group, you know, then you cannot just barge into the scene and start doing things. For example, some people last night, or maybe it was a couple nights ago, police got into a shootout at the jewelry store, and a third party or fourth party came in. I guess it was a fourth party came in and started killing the cops with sledgehammers. Okay, stuff like that is just it's not acceptable behavior, and cops are just going to pop their heads and they don't care. Okay, you guys can't get involved in a scene that you're not already previously involved with. If you're with a group that's doing a jewelry store, for example, it's already expected that you're on phone communication and radio communication. That is permitted. Okay, cops can hear you talk, right? So if you're whispering and they're close enough, you know, that makes it a fair game. Okay, not everything has to be fair, but, you know, you can't get involved in somebody else's scene. That's always been a thing that falls under common sense rules. However, I guess we need to add it as a rule again, and it will be added. Some information about organizations. Progress has finally been made, but it's happening kind of slow at a snail's pace because we need, you know, Zaki and management team needs to make the final decisions on these matters. That's why it takes some time for you guys to hear back. That being said, if you don't already know already, the accept and deny for orgs is accepted, KT Weed Dispensary, accepted, My World Las Aztecas, and accepted Angelo Law Firm, currently running the Justice Department. For denied orgs, the Shooting Gallery that Blaze submitted, the Uwu Cafe Gang, it already exists as a restaurant and an org. So apologies for that. Finer. Flux wanted to start the Red Jacks. It's also denied org for a gang. Banff Kyle's food truck also denied. It's not possible script-wise, as far as we can tell, and we are unfamiliar with that type of RP as a community, and we don't really see it being that valuable. Aries Benny's has been denied because multiple mechanic shops are not getting added. That's already been denied in the past. And Bob's Balls Bowling. Great idea, not denied yet. However, it could be better than the arcade, but is equal to paintball. So that means that the idea is sound, but it's not necessarily an org, and most bowling scripts aren't worth the money, aka they're jank. So not denied fully yet. We'll have to have a chat about Bob's Balls Bowling. Almighty AK denied due to lack of effort. Blaze's San Andreas construction has not been discussed yet. So charging in-game money is for dev work is potentially to pay to win. So it will need discussion further on the subject. We understand that, waiting to get accepted or denied is very annoying. We can easily delegate some of these new staff members to a position to oversee those orgs and making sure that they are following the rules, etc. Like I mentioned before, with staff team and orgs, we will be pushing those individuals to have a set job that they do. One of those things is overseeing the orgs. We understand that stuff's not happening fast enough, and so therefore we need to delegate some positions to some individuals. Also, Michael's SO is coming back eventually. We would love to see it come back sooner, but again, we still just don't have quite the population for it. But when we do, that's going to open up for another department. So if you guys want more information about SO, contact Michael's. So again, just to recap, that's about all I have for you guys in terms of changes, in terms of what you guys talked about last time, balance, media team, and our current issues. We would like to get your guys' feedback right now, presently. What do you guys think is preventing people from being active? What is keeping people from making content? How do you think that we can get new players? And you can just give your general feelings about the server. This isn't really a time to complain about things that are happening currently. There is a time and a place for that. But instead, I would much rather hear your guys' suggestions for potentially getting new donators, potentially getting new players, et cetera, along those lines. So we're just going to go kind of down the line one by one and talk about a few different things with you guys. So I guess we'll just start with Loveless. Do you have anything to say or mention or suggestions, donations, etc.? All right. Blaze?
No.
Dollar, anything to talk about or suggest?
No.
If okay, I'm not just gonna go down everybody's name. I guess Drome. Anything that you'd like to say?
Nope. Just
Zach?
good work.
Oh, thank you, Zach.
Nope.
All right, Acidin.
Nope.
Aang, anything to mention?
I feel like something that's keeping me from creating content at UO specifically is because I'm so sure you've heard about it a lot. It's the stacking thing. Is there any update on that? Is that coming back? Because I feel like we lost a lot of customers from that, and therefore I haven't been really getting on as much.
Okay. So the change that we want to make regarding food is that it's going to last a lot longer per item. So you'll be able to eat one item, it will fill your bar halfway up, and that will last an hour or 2 hours potentially. You eat another piece of food, and it will fill your bar and also last that 2 hours, for example. So people will have to come every day, and they won't be carrying around a stack of 100 food. So you guys were really busy that one day, but because you sold so much food and it was able to be stacked, no one has to go back to the uwu ever again.
Right.
So we would like to make it so that it doesn't stack. You have to keep going back. However, it'll last a little bit longer and the prices will represent that. Therefore, you'll make a little bit more money and have more business.
Okay. I was just thinking like hypothetically if we were to do 3 max, but I'd understand either way.
Yeah, we had a bit of a chat about this, and it's either have the items stackable or have them last longer, cost more. You'll have to go back to the uwu
Okay.
repetitively.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Angelo, do you have any suggestions or anything that you'd like to add?
I mean, mainly, well, seeing as I've been given that role of Chief Justice, just an easier way for court cases and things to do with the justice system to go into play. So, for example, you know, someone gets arrested typically and they get charged instantly and sent off to jail.
Great.
And I am aware you need a bit of a higher pop, you know, with judges staying in city. However, but I'd just like to bring up the facts that if we do get a higher pop and we do have more judges, would it be possible to eliminate that charge and procession and instead switch to a more inclusive system of going to a courtroom and actually having evidence stand the test of
Right.
time?
So if you get shot on a scene, you get taken to the hospital, you get taken and you get processed and booked at the jail, and then maybe you stay there for a little while, and then you go again to maybe City Hall to be tried. Is that what you're saying? Kind of.
No, what I'm saying is you can have the choice to either just accept the charges and not be able to appeal it for a criminal court case, or the second option would be go straight to a trial, hoping there's judges in city if we get the pop up.
Lawyers and judges.
What'd you say, sorry?
Okay.
Yeah.
Lawyers and judges, because you need to have someone represent you.
Yeah, that's what I'm aiming for. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Angelo. Anything else? Any way to maybe potentially get some new donators?
No, I don't have a clue about any of that.
All right. Thank you. Casual? Casual? No? Okay. Chance?
I have no idea.
Okay. Ernesto?
Yes. How about some better wages for like the lesser common jobs and some more realistic prices for cars as well?
You mean lower prices or higher prices for cars?
Nah, the
Just more
prices are okay,
realistic?
but just like more realistic for like the types of cars. Like a Corvette C8 shouldn't cost 400 grand.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Anything else?
Just the wages.
Just better wages
Or-
for like forklift, for example, or bus, or some of the
Yeah.
more simple jobs. Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. I recommend all of you guys, just a quick note that the new jobs that are being added, like sanitation and post-op, are going to be the current kind of meta. You guys should probably do those jobs right now for a little while. If you need help with those things, the F10 menu should be updated, and that'll teach you how to do all that. Who's next? Fools, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, so I did want to add on to what you were saying earlier with the AMR script. One of the big goals, and I don't think you really touched on this aspect, but one of the goals with trying to get rid of the /me's is, you know, one of the issues we see is someone dies, they go AFK, and they kind of leave AMR hanging, sitting there with the thumb up their butt, waiting for you to get back. So
Or they lie about what happened to them.
yeah, so the idea behind this is now AMR is going to be able to see your actual injuries, be able to RP it a little bit more thorough, and they're also going to have the ability to identify these injuries with the script and know whether or not they have to take you to the hospital. So this is going to prevent a few things. One of the biggest complaints that we get from civs about LEOs is that they're constantly just getting picked up and hopping back into the fight. And while it's okay to a degree, the way it's supposed to be is if you die on
Taken
scene
to the
as an
hospital.
LEO, you're supposed to leave the scene. If they're calling for backup, you can go back, but you're perimeter. You're not going to be sitting there first in the door after getting shot by somebody outside. You know, that's
And another way that we prevent
not-
that from happening is by taking the officers to the hospital. Once they've gotten to the hospital, they can then go back to the scene, because it takes them out of that for that period of time. So it gives an advantage to the people who are doing the robbery or whatever. Anything else, fools?
No, I lost my train of thought. I don't.
But yeah, it'll eliminate the /me's from your guys' perspective. So if you do go AFK or whatever, you're not necessarily required to be there and RP medical stuff if you don't want to. If you do want to, however, you'll still be able to do all of that. But one of the complaints you guys had was you don't really want to do /me's when doing medical. Apologies for cutting you off, fools.
All good.
If there's anything that you'd like to discuss at the end, I'll come back to you. Jason?
All right.
Okay,
Start
Brian?
donations.
Yep.
I don't think I could think of is to lower the price on some things or add like custom peds maybe as a donation option. But that's all.
All right. Thank you very much. Jax?
So what I would like to see in the server personally is a few more scripts directed towards like less criminal but more like trying to make an honest living kind of style. So kind of like the forklift, all that stuff, but more scripts that aren't as just repetitive, like, oh, just got to do this 100 times back and forth.
Okay.
I
So
can give you one
like,
example of a script that should be coming back that would help with that. I got news from the developer. The trucking script that we had is fixed from the bugs that it had with trailers not despawning and paying out in the decimal value. That gives us the ability to allow you to use your own tractor trailer, or you can rent a tractor trailer. There's less options when you rent a tractor trailer, but it's fully configurable. We can add as many routes and delivery points as we want. So we can give a spread of like 10 to 15 delivery points. That way you're not getting the same 3 repetitively, kind of like the forklift where you go there and there's like 4 different destinations all right there. With the trucking job, it'll pay based on distance. So there's an ability to where you'll start in Polito at the depot and you can end up all the way down at the container yard. You can end all the way down by Vespucci PD or something. So there's some options there to get some decent money based on the distance you're driving and not be as repetitive with the options of routes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's kind of exactly what I'm after. Just something that's not repetitive. There's a little
Yeah.
bit more option to.
Yeah, that one had just been tabled because the script was broken and they kind of were dragging their feet on fixing the 3 bugs that were breaking it.
I will also say that the new jobs, the new legal jobs that are coming, like post-op and sanitation's already in, but those are a lot less repetitive and more active in like what you need to do to finish that job to get paid. And also, not to mention, are better done in a group, more fun, and a lot easier to do, and you all get paid the same amount. So definitely do those jobs in groups. They are the most fun right now you can do legally. So we are trying to improve on that front, Jax.
Perfect. That's all for me.
Jeffrey.
All right. I have a couple of points. First, is there a way we can I don't know, write a chat for maybe the hunting so for some hunting ideas like what times you can hunt, where you can hunt, what weapons are allowed, how to do it, cuz me personally I learned from someone else, and then when
Okay,
I was
so
when I started doing it alone, it was like I didn't know where to do it. I had to, call a officer in game, and he was able to help me. And I even asked him, like, is there like a category where we could look this up, or maybe the guide can include it?
Okay.
Because that would, I know a lot of people do hunting. Sometimes they get cops called, which is, 100%, okay. I'm not saying cops wouldn't answer the call, but sometimes you don't know what zones to do. You don't know what animals are allowed to be, killed, what times that you're allowed to do it in. So, if we could probably make a tab or a category including all this information, that'll be real helpful to the people who do RP for that.
Awesome. Yeah, we can totally add that to the F10 menu.
Yeah. Another thing with I had someone approach me today, I was on Uvu, and they wanted to, grace, or they wanted to buy a department some food. I kind of tried to explain to them that it was impossible because they wanted like 100 of each item, and I could have dragged it one by one, but it would have took me quite some time. So is that like virtually impossible now? Because I know there's been people who buy like department food. So, but like
Yeah.
because of the non-stackable rule, is that like non-existent now?
Yeah, we don't want to encourage people to be sitting on 200 food for the entire wipe and not have to ever go to the uwu again.
Because I understand the whole not it's unfair for someone to have 200 food on them.
Well, it's not that
It
it's
makes
unfair.
no
It's just that
sense.
it doesn't make any sense. You're not going to be carrying around 200 boxes
Yeah.
of bentos. Okay. You're not going to be carrying around, 100 beef ramen bowls. Okay. You'd carry one, potentially two.
Yeah. No,
And
it's just
that would encourage you to go back to buy more.
I understand it, but from a cop's point of view, you don't really have the luxury of going out whenever you can because you're basically at the mercy of the city. So when you're a cop, you don't have the luxury of saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go get something to eat." You can get a call right there, and you have to drop whatever you're doing and tend to the call. When you're a mechanic and you're on toll or whatever you're doing, it's kind of hard to drop what you're doing. So I mean, I understand it. I'm just trying to,
Well, one way to remedy that, Jeffrey, that I could think of off the top of my head is to cater to all of your needs as a character first. That's you're living a life. You're not just a cop. You're also a person who plays a cop, right?
Yeah.
So you should go off duty, take care of your needs, and then go on duty.
Okay.
Also, keep in mind the food is going to last longer. So if you use a Fitbit, it lets you know, hey, you only got 25% food left. Like you'll have to go get it, but that gives you a wider time frame with the food being able to last longer.
Another
mention-
thing I
yeah,
wanted
go ahead.
to bring up is there any way we could increase? I don't know if I should talk to you guys about this or the owner of Uvu, the payout for Uvu, because now it's like $50 every 15 minutes. That's like it's not incentive to be on duty. Because essentially before you would be on duty, it didn't matter how much money you made passively because someone could come in and buy a shit ton of money, a shit ton of food, and you could keep the huddle. You could keep the whole commission. But now, since not a lot of restaurants are open and not a lot of people are on, is there a way to increase the payout for Uvu?
I can answer that. We're working on the prices to get them raised with me and someone else working on those. So you should see an increase in your pay soon.
Again, to make ads of when you're open and when you're closed. You don't have to be there all the time, but that'll be important of how you make your money is through the ad system.
And now, well, this is I don't really have to bring this up because this is like a personal matter. I probably have to talk to management about.
Okay, you have a matter that you'd like to speak with us about. All right, no problem. We can skip you for now, and you can put it in my DMs, or we can drag you into a call. Okay. Is that everything, Jeffrey?
Yep.
Alrighty, fantastic. Joker.
Well, most of the stuff I was going to talk about, you already brought up, so I would just be repeating a bunch of stuff that was already.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I mean, it's pretty much already stuff that's been talked about. It's pretty much covered everything I was going to say.
Awesome. All right. Maddie?
Nothing other than fixed chains for women and add more shoes and clothing options for women.
Fixed chains?
Yeah, Jewel Dragon.
Okay, got you. And more clothing options? Okay.
Create hold on, my brain just shut off.
I have it in the community meeting, but I'll send you as well.
Yeah, make a suggestion for it and put the clothes that you're interested in. We don't have very many clothes, so it's not like we're going to be able to pick out which ones, females are going to want to wear. So
I'm pretty sure Dollar sent Blaze something a while ago too.
Okay. Yeah, just make a suggestion and then allow people to put the
EUP in there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Maverick, anything to add?
Yeah, first thing, somebody was talking about realistic prices for cars, and adjusting wages. But once you start getting into that, then you're gonna have to grind and grind and grind to get a car, and that's what we're trying to move away from, is it not? Is you don't want people to have to keep grinding just to buy a car, and that's the only thing that people are gonna want to do.
Well, the payouts and the balance for how much cars costs, how much houses cost, and how much you make for certain jobs are quite balanced at the moment.
Yeah.
You get paid a lot right now for those new jobs, like the sanitation, for example. It doesn't take you longer than a couple days to grind for said items. Even if you want a $400,000 car, I know somebody who grinded almost $1 million in less than a week to buy a house. It's possible.
Yeah, I just didn't think that it's necessary to mess with that because then people are going to complain about prices again.
Yeah.
And not everything. Yeah, it's you know, it's supposed to be lifelike, but it's not going to be a 1-to-1 copy like people think it's going to be.
Right. We are realistic with like the lower tier cars. They cost what they cost in real life. Like for example, the GMC AT4 truck only costs like around $40,000.
Oh, that's even on the cheaper end.
That's on the cheaper end for that type of car. That was like a 2016 used AT4 on Edmunds.com is $38,600. That's what we tried to do with the first additional cars that were added. From then on, as more cars get added, the price needs to increase for said cars because people have more money.
Yeah, and you don't want a bunch of people to have, it's not very realistic to have a bunch of supercars going around all the time. So people are trying to keep the balance of, normal cars to supercars because you don't just go into town one day and see all these cars all over the place. And I just don't think anything needs change there.
One thing I wanted to say with like the cars thing, they're all balanced to a certain tier. So like A class is around like 130,000, and when you get up to S, it'll be like 400,000. One thing that we wanted to do was for the certain speeds, we didn't want one car. What am I trying to say? Like be so much faster. Like A class is all around the same speed and all around the same price. So not everyone's just gonna drive the same A class car and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just don't think that's something that needs messed with. And my second thing is dollar suggestion. That's something that I'd like to see. Like having
What is
actual
that?
pills. He just bumped it. It's the dollar pills MLO.
Okay.
That'd be something that I'd like to see. I think that gives you another thing to RP that's not like I don't know, it's just something different on a Civ side.
Apply for an org is what I can say to that.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Because it's a separate location to Pillbox, and the medics are not doctors. They're not prescribing meds to people. If you want
Right,
to
that's
be
what I
a
said.
pharmacist who can prescribe or have like a doctor on site, like an on-call thing, like maybe that's potentially something that you could have an org for. Currently, we
interesting.
already have a prescriptions mod already added that medics can give you a card. Now it's
Yeah, I
it's
see
not
that
it's
part.
not like a pill bottle. We have that as well, and that might change with the new medical system. But until we get the new medical system rolling and working and stuff, I don't think that'll be added just yet.
Gotcha.
So the prescription system currently works right now as you get a card that states that you are allowed to have like a specific type of drug. For example, let's say I like to use Percocet just because it's funny. People know what it is. And I'll prescribe you that. But it's not a realistic RP for medics or paramedics specifically. We don't hand out prescriptions. That's what doctors do.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just thought it'd be cool to have like physical pills. So it's
It would have to be something that would be controlled by an org, I would imagine, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
Micus.
I don't have anything.
Are you sure? Any updates on? Everybody who had a Ford F-250 with those super bright lights that didn't do anything.
It's 350.
Yeah, whoever said that, that's I believe been fixed, thanks to Micus. Any other updates on any car development or anything like that that you'd like to tell everybody?
No. I mean, if you guys want to have any
White
thoughts
body.
on the cars, you can just DM me.
Okay. If any changes need to be made, you guys can make a car developer support ticket if you have a car that is missing something or needs something added or whatever. One thing that got brought up to me, Mike, is as a suggestion was to have personalized ambulances with call signs on them. I don't know how possible that is, but that's something that people had suggested in my department, at least. I'm not too concerned about it, but if that's something that can be done, let me know.
Yeah, I mean, we already done it on SST cars.
Yeah, if that's a thing, maybe we could do that for medic too, but I don't want to give you more work that is not necessarily needed. It would just be RP aspect.
That can be discussed afterwards, I guess.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
You want me to keep moving? You got anything else?
No, I don't have anything.
All right. James Jupiter.
No, I'm good. Thanks.
All right, thanks for being here today, man. Oscar.
All good.
All right. Thank you for being here too. Nice to see you. RVX.
No, I'm good.
Spoons.
No, I'm good.
Sprunks.
No.
All right, Mark P.
Yeah, just had a couple things. Right when you said it, I lost my train of thought. If we could put more into advertising, I think that would be a good way of boosting the server. Because I mean, even if we, boost it, I mean, we did the one time and it worked out pretty well, I thought, and we got a couple new people. My other thought is on actually pay more than the illegal, just for the fact that people do the illegal because they want to do it. They shouldn't do it because they need to do it to make money. I think that people should do the legitimate jobs, and which would bring out more RP instead of the running and gunning. So that's my 2 cents.
Though I understand your logic there, their argument is there's more risk at play. Doing.
Yeah, how do you handle the risk?
These.
Well, I mean, some people are going to do it because, I mean, it's not supposed to be as much of a grinding factor as an RP factor. We're doing it for RP. No, not. We shouldn't be doing it for the money. We do it because you want to do it. That's kind of like, that's my counter argument on that. People rob the banks because they want to rob it, not because they need to rob it. They do it because they want to.
Some of these illegal jobs are also red zones. So, for example, the oil rig is not, at least not right now, it's not going to be an area where you're going to get revived. That's the risk of doing the oil rig, was that if you die, you lose your stuff. Medics are not going to be stressed out about having to go save a person who's out in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, all I'm saying is just kind of give it some extra thought and talk over about it, because that might lower the
So
the
you're
running
saying
gunning,
illegal jobs pay less than
or on the same plane, or at least on the same playing field as the others.
All right. Thank you for your suggestion. Anything else you'd like to add? Anything about donations, potentially suggestions for how we can improve?
I liked Brian's idea on the custom pads. I think a lot of people would want that, and
Okay.
I think that's something other places offer that we're not offering, that could easily be offered.
All right, sure.
Because I would pay for a custom pad, no questions asked.
Fantastic. Jake?
Nope.
Trucker Dan?
So, only got 2 things. First is to add back the visual effects when you get high off certain drugs, so that civs can role play as drug addicts, like my little rat guy does. Give it a little bit more feel to it instead of just getting meth and it just gives you armor for a minute. I'd rather have like a visual effect where maybe the ped walks drunk, or stumbles us a couple times or can run faster or something like that while on the drug.
And maybe if you take too many, you can overdose.
Yeah, exactly.
So like drains your food and water.
It's something to that effect, yeah. It messes with your vision. Maybe you overdose, you get a black screen for, I don't know, 3 or 5 seconds or whatever, and then so on and so forth. But just more visual effects to it, because right now, I mean, people just smoke weed to smoke weed. There's no effect for it, really. You got that little purple screen and it moves, but that's about all. I mean, you might as well sell it to a ped to make a lot more money than take it for yourself. So, like my character, I grind to make weed just so I can play like he's high as crap and runs around stupid.
The acid effect used to be really cool.
Oh, seeing Mario, I love
Mario.
that.
Yeah, stuff like that to give it a little bit more feel, like, more realistic in a sense.
All right.
I can
And
tell you
then,
the intent was always to bring back those effects. We just never got around to it because realistically they should have an effect. The acid effect was cool as hell. I don't know if that script would be QB compatible, but that's definitely something we're going to look into because it's something we need.
Is there any chance we can bring in like an overdose script? I think I saw it at one point, but so that way medics can give Narcan or anything like that. So it kind of gives like a reward versus risk kind of thing. Like you have a chance of overdosing if you take too many.
I can tell you from experience, it's possible, but it may be extremely hard to configure and get working properly. I know back when Hertzy was still here, we were trying to get a overdose script made up that he was creating, and it was so hard to get the timing right and everything with that to function properly that it was scrapped. But there may be some working ones out there that we can look into, because that is a cool idea. The only thing that I don't want to see is like dependency on the drugs, like a character become dependent, because then it just kind of, I feel like at that point would break the character and make it almost impossible to not do the drugs.
I see both sides on that. I agree, but
I think a good fix could be that it drains your food and water and you die from that anyway currently. So maybe like meth will drain your water like 70%. So if you're not full, then you have the potential to just die right then and there. That could be a workaround.
Yeah. Something like that, but maybe not as severe as, take it at one time and then you're dead. But maybe add it to where like it takes half of your food or half of your water, like 1 for 1 for food and water. Secondly, I've put this suggestion in a few times throughout my time on the server. And I was told it was possible, but never heard anything past that. So I'd be really interested in a script to where you can live off the land. So you have a water canteen, you can go to a little stream, fill up your water canteen. Or you can hunt deer and you have like a camping script to where you have a fire pit and you're able to cook deer meat on the fire pit and be able to eat that. Now say it only gives you 15% health or 10% health, so people aren't, spamming that, but a way to kind of live off the land, if you will.
So like a survival type script.
Yeah, so like if you want to go
or something?
if you want to go camping up on Chiliad with a bunch of your friends or whatever, you find a stream of water, you guys fill up your canteens of water, and then you can go hunting for the deer, what have you, and you can have a whole ordeal there, a whole RP scene to go to that.
And that brings people out of the city as well.
That would be so dope.
Okay. Thanks for the suggestion, Dan. Anything about donations that you could see that we could improve?
Well, you know me, I've been donating to the server forever.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
I would say just continue the development, continue showing what you're doing, continue putting out previews, even if it's, months down the road, continue showing different ideas of what you're doing. Show that there's work being done, and that it's not just being left on the back burner, as to say. You know, show that people are, you know, you guys are making effort to do everything you can or whatnot. And it brings more people in to see, oh, wow, these people are adding all this other new stuff. Wow, this is actually really fun. You know, maybe, I don't want to say perks because that's play to win, but like your token system for the cars, maybe put different types of cars in there. So you have supercars, maybe put a truck with a camper on it, or one of those Sand King RVs. You know, put different vehicles in there that aren't what you think everybody would want. So there's a bigger vast of vehicles that you get for your donations. It's not just Lamborghinis or a Hummer EV, you know, so on and so forth like that. Maybe different scripts for the red light racetrack, you know, bring something there for that, or just development stuff. If people see that you guys are putting a lot of work into it, they're going to want to contribute to help put the more work into it. That's why I always contribute it, because I see how hard you guys work and I want to pay you for your work. And if you guys continue to do that, then I continue to support. Once it got to like the server was just burning back in 3.0, this shortly after 3.0, when everybody just kind of gave up and just let the server kind of just do whatever it's going to do, you know, that was really discouraging because it didn't show anybody had any effort in anything. So,
Correct.
So you guys showing, you know, effort, you're showing what you're doing. Like I said, it could be months down the line, but hey, this is our idea. You can put a check mark or a red X. What do you guys think of this? Get people involved in your development. Don't keep it so far behind closed doors. Certain things, yeah, but involve the community more so the community feels like they have more of a say other than just community meetings. You know what I mean?
Okay. That's a good suggestion.
Sorry, I mean, are you saying they're doing a bad job with that, or?
No, they're not doing a bad job. It's just that would be something that I would see that would push it even further to people will see that, hey, this thing is growing. This thing is getting better every time. I come in, I come in, you know, a month after an out playing, and there's 3 more things I can do that I want to try out.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I
We
just
have the
took,
change log and stuff.
because I felt like the
Yeah.
improvements have been there. Like, so like back in the old kind of days, like I had a lot more say in how things went. And even then, I felt like I wasn't getting hurt as much as I am now, and like nobody really gives a shit what I say anymore. So like it's kind of like I feel like a much better job is being done with that side of things.
Yeah, Vibe, go ahead. Do you have any? Sorry, I'd cut you off. Vibe, I didn't get to. You must have joined late. I didn't get to see your name there. Do you have any
Yeah,
suggestions or anything you can see to help improve our donations or any changes?
Nothing for this meeting.
Okay.
Can you add a shower script for Viab? He's a little stinky.
I am here with death right now, so.
Rosie, I have one idea for you.
Okay.
For donations, you should add donator cop cars or something like that. There's nothing for police to donate for at all.
Okay.
Even like have a different siren pack for donators or something. I don't know. That's all I got. But yeah, give cops something because there's
Well,
nothing
you can add your own siren
police
pack.
be able to donate.
You are able to add your own siren pack, like Angelo just mentioned, but it could be good if people who don't want to do that.
I don't know if it's possible because
Right.
it's restricted to the vehicles themselves, not.
Well, even
the
if you had
person.
donator vehicles, you know what I mean? Like a reason for them to donate. I was just thought I had.
So you mean like make a small pack for police
Yeah.
donators?
Yeah, why not?
It's not a horrible
That's something we could
idea.
talk with high command to gauge their thoughts and possibly get like a ranking structure from them, because ultimately it would also have to fall under a ranking structure of what the department would allow you to do as your high command.
Yeah, you can't come in as a brand new and just be driving whatever.
V Money, Graham Eve.
Hey, so I know we spoke about this the last meeting about the traffic lights, but is there a way? Because when most of us get to these lights, they take forever. And I will be the one, like, let's say for example, I'm like, oh, it's a red light, I gotta wait. And then I'll see this guy flying by. Phew! I'm like, I'll just go then. Because it takes that long, and this guy is not gonna wait that long. He just went by. Is there a way that if we show up at the red light, it senses that we're there? Like maybe we're there for like 15 or 20 seconds or a little more. But sometimes it takes like almost a minute. And I'm like, what? I just make a right turn or maybe just go through a red light. Is there a way we can do something that it senses that we're there?
Blaze, did you have any idea on that?
I have a comment on that. We just got a police script in for that. That
Yeah, I
changes the
mean,
light. Maybe we
technically,
can.
yeah,
adjust that.
we could just adjust it off the Opticom scripts. I mean, technically, in theory, it could work. That just would take some time.
Okay. I'll write it down as a potential future suggestion. We'll work off of that. Thank you for the suggestion. Anything else that you guys want to bring up? Steezy, did you have anything?
No.
Orgity, did you have anything to add for suggestions or for donators or anything like that? All right, Jeffrey, you did have something else to say.
A couple of things that I forgot. Is is there a way we can edit the script? So I know that right now, the way that you fill up the water canteens when you're doing the weed seeds is you gotta buy a water bottle to fill it up. Is there any way we could edit that and make it so that you could do it like you could refill it off of like the ocean water or like a little spring or little river? Because that'll be like something more realistic. I get the whole aspect of having to pay for it, but realistically, it'll be more realistic if you have to fill it up. Like if you go to the ocean, you can fill it up. Just like when you're doing the mining, you can wash the stones by the river.
Okay. Anything else?
Also, one more thing. Regarding Toe, is there any way Toe can have access to the CAD, the police CAD, not in a function of writing anything, but more of a function of searching up a player's name, and then maybe we can contact the police and say, hey, listen, you, because what's happened to me, like cops call me in for a tow, they take the person, the owner of the car, and then I don't have anybody to charge, so I'm doing free work and I don't mind it, but it kind of discourages RPing as a tow. So is there a way we could have access to CAD, look up the name, and then like call the officer and say, hey, listen, you guys recently arrested this person. He's probably done at the station. Can you try to get me his ID, or maybe we could have like a database saying, this person this ID belongs to this person, so that we could identify it in the CAD.
You could honestly just give them access.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah,
You're lagging, Mark.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what he said. What did he say?
If you give them access to the plate lookup, that should be able to suffice. I mean,
Yeah,
so
but you
who to
can't
go
charge
after.
anybody off of their name. You have to charge the ID though.
We could maybe potentially you could charge the LEO bank account maybe to get paid for that. I'm not sure a workaround, but I have it written down here.
Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna go back through everybody, make sure that nobody got missed for any of their suggestions. I know Foolsy, you wanted to say something again. I'll just let everybody else go ahead of you, just so you can formulate your thoughts.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else that wants to speak? Just go ahead and just raise your hand.
And
Yep, go ahead.
just want to reiterate. I I didn't mean any offense or saying that you guys aren't doing a good job when I was saying put out more development stuff. I was just saying
I
that
didn't
would
get that.
keep more people.
Yeah, you're good. I didn't
Okay.
get that.
I thought Viab got in the feels there for a second. So I want to make sure that, you guys didn't take any hard feelings from that at all. I didn't mean anything like that.
No, I think that this meeting specifically just is packed full of content that a lot of people had questions about regarding every aspect of the city so far. So I think that compared to our last meeting, this has a lot more content. So yeah, we are trying to provide everybody with as much things to do while maintaining a nice balance and, trying to encourage that RP for everybody. Steve, would you like to say anything? I know you missed most of the meeting, but it is being recorded. So once that gets uploaded, I'll be able to spread that around to everybody who wasn't here. So anybody else before I move on?
Me.
Okay.
So, like, I have a character that looks like another character in the game, like someone else. And I come in, I'm like, oh man, we look alike. And it's like, is there a way, or maybe if I was a little chubby, or maybe a little fat, like different, like something different
We
from
can't.
someone else?
It's
You
not an
can't.
option right now. No.
Oh, all right. Cool.
Potentially in the future, you could donate for a custom ped that would make you look different. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind. We might add that change.
Okay.
Yeah, MP players are all in the same structure. Like, there's no adjusting it, which doesn't make sense because you were able to in San Andreas, and you can do it.
And everybody's the most physically fit they could possibly be. Also, hit the gym, bro. You can 2-tap people with your fists.
That's right. That's right.
Fools, go ahead. The floor is yours with everything that you wanted to talk about.
So back to the AMR thing real quick, and I'm just gonna roll through everything else. So what I was initially trying to allude to is with AMR now getting a new medical script, one of the big issues, and LEOs do it as well as Civs. You're not going to just be getting picked up and walking away. Most of you, if your injuries are severe enough, like if you get ejected from your vehicle, Brian, you're going to AMR or you're going to pillbox. You shouldn't be, I just have a broken nose if I get yeeted through a windshield. You should actually go to the hospital. Give AMR something else to do. Add to their RP. The /me's coming out. That's going to be great because they're going to be able to assess you with AFK and be able to treat you for those injuries. But at the same time, try not to be AFK because there may be some situations where /me still is the best course of action for certain things. When we get into what we're talking about with the green zones and LEOs, obviously we had mentioned that we're going to be looking to add this here in the future with the ability to rob LEOs again, but you're going to be required to have a certain amount of LEOs on. And then we got to the point where we mentioned you're not just going to be running up on another scene that you're not involved in. And one of the main things that we're looking at with that is something that we've consistently had issues with is people like to go up to a police car and try and steal it while the officer is sitting there at a traffic stop talking to the person they pulled over. That's just low quality RP. If you see them on a traffic stop, you're not going to be getting that close like that. No criminal in their right mind would even do that IRL unless they're just on something. And even then, it's not a valid reason in RP to just walk up to their scene and try and steal their car or what's in their car because they're talking to someone at a traffic stop. It's a low form of RP and something that we don't want to see. And then we also got onto factions, neutral, AMR. They've always been neutral. They're going to remain neutral. Impersonation of an LEO. One of the things that we, some of you guys want it, but one of the things we ask you guys to consider is when you see people impersonating an LEO, whether it be in the past or on other servers, a lot of those people, unless they're like streamers and giving really good RP in depth and have it planned out and approved, most of the people that are going to come in and try and impersonate an LEO are trolls who just joined the server. The first outfit they put on is some type of LEO mixed matched uniform and are literally just out there to try and get money off of people.
Yeah, or just power trip in general.
Yeah, it's a problematic RP, and I personally don't see any room for quality in there unless it is something that would be well thought out, scripted, and approved beforehand. And you know, that kind of takes away from the whole roleplay aspect because it's now scripted. Organizations, one of the ones that we mentioned as a request from LEOs is something that they can go to as a hangout spot. We do have an org application that came in that we have not accepted or denied yet that would fit that category. I believe it was Mark P with a donut shop. That actually is a very good idea, and it's something that we have yet to look into in detail. But it wasn't denied. It's something that we're considering because there is a decent potential. And then the last thing I want to touch on is the food stacking. So, you know, one of the issues with stacking food, and we've seen it before, especially on the LEO side, there were a number of LEOs that had stash cars that they pull them out, and there's 400 burgers of each type of burger, all the fries, shakes, drinks. They have like 400 of everything. And they literally just go to Burger Shot twice, stock up on all this stuff, put it in their vehicle, and never have to return to Burger Shot. Or now that we have Uwu Cafe being more active recently would be a better example. So the problem that comes with stacking food is, one, people are going to be coming in one after the other and want you guys to make 100 plus of each item. That is an unreasonable request for anyone working at Uwu Cafe, Burger Shot, Bean Machine. It's too tedious. We shouldn't ask that much of someone who's trying to role play in that position. Like it just kind of gets annoying and frustrating at that time, or at that point, because it's not just them, it's every person or every other person in line behind them want the same thing, and then they're not going to return. And then what's going to happen? You guys are sitting there, no customers coming in, you're bored. Eventually you're just going to stop opening shop because everybody's already got everything. They don't need to come back. So with stacking it to only one, I mean, you can have like 5 of those items in your inventory. You just can't stack them, which takes up inventory space and requires them to have to need you more, which means that you will have the ability to open more, even though you're not going to be charging and making as much money as those that are coming in buying hundreds at a time. You're still going to get more frequent RP, which at the end of the day, I think that's the more important point, is trying to get you guys the RP and get you guys to have fun rather than sitting there just repetitively clicking, make this item, make this item, make this item. Like that gets boring over time. And we don't want to see you guys have to go through that. I know that's been an issue with Burger Shot, where the employees get frustrated because they don't want to sit there and have to make 400 burgers for one person, and the next person comes in wants 90, the next person wants 200. You know, you're going to be there all night just doing the same thing, click, 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 with the occasional walk to the register. So yeah,
we hope that clears that up for the people who are working those jobs like Burger Shot and Uwu and Coffee Bean. All right, so that's about the summary of the things that we needed to really go in depth about. Last call for any suggestions or things that we can make changes for, and then we're going to wrap it up.
I got some.
Yep.
I've got some as well after.
Okay, I'll go down. Blaze, Angelo, Brian.
Yeah, I have
All right.
one question.
Okay, Joker. All right.
Me too.
Something that people do sometimes is like, I don't know, this could be a rule that you guys add in. like having what's it called body cams, or like not like actually having like a body cam somewhere in your bed. Just like criminals or like civs, even when they're like half naked, would be like, oh yeah, I've got that on body cam, Brian. Not saying any names, but
Google
it's
glasses.
just some sort of like weird like role play situation that you're running into. Yeah, so
Yeah, I agree. That doesn't really make sense. That happens a lot.
Yeah, it only
So
makes
a
sense.
body
if you're
cam
looking
item
for
like
staff
that would sit in your
issues.
inventory like before.
no, not even like having an item, like literally just wearing a clothing piece. You know how like cops have like body cams actually on their vest,
Right.
or dash cams in their car.
Okay.
Just like shit like that.
Before in
Well-
2.0, if I remember correctly, we had like an item in your inventory that would be a body cam, quote unquote. You could buy it at the hardware store. Is that something that we could do, or is that you want it to be actually visible?
I don't know. I was seeing it more as like a visible thing.
See, but the problem with it being a clothing piece as of right now too is that clothing wheel, like it doesn't work anymore. So like you used to be able to pull up that clothing wheel and like click on your hat and it would take your hat off and put it back on. And that's like an issue I've been having with certain things. Like if you want to ride a motorcycle, I would pretty much create a character with a helmet on and then just take off the helmet and put it back on when I'm on the bike kind of thing. But now that that's not working, because I'm with you on like the whole wearing a body cam things. I believe you can actually purchase one like in the clothing, but it'd be nice to actually be able to take it back off too.
Wait, slash hat doesn't work?
No. The
Slash
clothing
hat
wheel,
does, but the wheel itself.
No, it works. Clothing wheel works. All that shit works. It's
Yeah,
in
it
the
does. I
F1
just
menu.
used it today.
Yeah, I just used it right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it hasn't been working for me. So unless
Steve's
they just
also
got
been having trouble with the decoration menu. Has anybody else been having trouble placing items with the decoration menu for your homes?
Yeah, so the issue I'm having is like I can rotate it, I can do everything. The only thing I cannot do is it says like on the instructions you're supposed to be able to right click on it and drag it. And that's the only thing I cannot figure out is how to drag it and put it where I want it. Because I can rotate it left, right, up, down, all that stuff. The only thing I cannot do is physically actually move the couch per se and put it over here instead of over there.
Okay.
I wonder if there might be a conflict because
might be a keybind conflict.
Sandman was having an issue trying to do stuff with his clothing menu while in his vehicle out on patrol, and it pulled up the housing menu on him. So it might just be that something in the two scripts are conflicting.
Okay, I'll write that down.
Well, see, I noticed too also if so there's what's it called? Not so like when you set stuff in your house, like you can set your change of clothes, you can set your stash, and you can set the thing where you can leave the game and switch players. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Like so when I do that and I go to another player, first like it won't let me in my house or out of it. Like I literally like have to like spawn somewhere else to get away from that. And also when I do that, like it doesn't like it acts like what you were just saying. I can be at the store and I can do decorate my house kind of thing. Like it's almost like that menu. Like it's weird when you switch players through that way because something happens with that too.
Okay.
But I mean, I've actually disconnected like all the keybinds on my mouse to see if that was an issue, and it still gives me the same issue with trying to play something somewhere.
All right.
Yeah, that is
Angelo, you're next.
Yeah, just more focusing on inactive gangs, cough cough, Lost MC. I've not seen them in
Yeah, we'll be going through them
in ages. Either like if you like for example Fools, if you can't get on that often, then just give it away. To someone else who can.
Same goes for Burger Shot, B Machine, any of the other inactive orgs / businesses / gangs. We're
Yeah,
gonna
I
be
think it
going
should
through
be
them
like a
all.
30-day limit. If you're not on within 30 days, then you obviously don't want it.
Maybe go
Unless
to
you
60
have a
days on
reason.
that, but yes.
Yeah,
That
I
would
wouldn't
be
say
a quarter of the
60
wipe
days
is
is
60
a
days.
long-
It's a
long
long time. So it might be less than that, but I think, yeah, that is definitely a good idea to not necessarily force activity, but encourage people. Like if you're not there for 30 days, someone else owns it.
Yeah.
We'll be going through a lot of the orgs and businesses to make those changes that are necessary. For example, there's a black market not being used right now. So that would be a better example rather than to point fingers at Lost MC and saying, hey, you guys aren't on. It's like, hey, we have a black market not being used that was meant to be a full gang. Okay. So
Who's up?
obviously some events, the Vegagantes, obviously some
Right.
events have happened and that have discouraged A, those members from not being Vegagantes, and B, personal issues, IRL. So anything else you'd like to add about that, Angelo, before we move on?
No, I just agree.
Okay. Next up was Brian.
Brian?
I just got back. I was AFK, so I'm sorry. Don't know.
You had something that you wanted to mention last call.
What?
I thought that you spoke up. That's okay. Moving on to the next person who wanted to. Joker.
Yes. So this is for content and media real quick. So if like someone is on the official media team and they're trying to get people to help them make a video, can whatever happens in that not go on their record? Because it's really hard to get people to help you with YouTube videos if it's going to go on their record. Do you know what I'm saying?
As police officers who are a part of these videos being created, try your best to be lenient with these people who are providing the content for said promotional video. Going into it, they need to be notified of that, Joker, and that those people will be, not tried.
That's fine. As long as I can say like, yeah, it's okay. You're not going to get in trouble if you do this. So like even to the
That's okay with, I think that's okay with management, so long as it's for that content and not going to be interfering with other people RPing.
Yep.
All right. Last call. Anybody else?
If I could ask one thing, is if there is a way, because I mean, for AMR and the fire that's coming in, most of the like doors and stuff like that all work off extra. Is there any way we can get like a radial extra menu for those two, for that position or any other position that comes in? Because sometimes I'd like to open the door and have the door for the generator, the door for the this, that, or the other. Most of the or the scene lights, even most of the scripts and most of the vehicles work off that. So if it's possible, if we can look into that.
The addition of options in the radial menu?
Yeah, to be able to toggle extras. I mean, it's not practical for police officers as it is for the medics, because some of the doors on the ambulances can open, but you have to hit the extra, kind of like back in the V menu days. So if there's a way we could do a radial of it, it would add to the more of the RP. Because even as a cop, I like to open the door before I throw somebody in it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like open the door for somebody who's cuffed and then put their head in kind of deal. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
But like on the ambulances, you can't, because you know it as well as I do. Once you got to hit option 1 because that closes all the doors.
The ambulance unfortunately is the only vehicle that uses different doors for them. It's not like you can most vehicles you can left alt and third eye and open the doors.
Okay, well, I because I just don't know how the fire is going to do as well. So that's the reason why I brought it up, because I didn't know if it followed that same procedure, if it was just like a medic vehicle like standard. That's how.
Well,
they
you
do
can
it.
also bind that button to open the vehicle extras menu or vehicle door menu, vehicle options. I have mine just set to numpad 9 on default. You click numpad 9, brings up that menu. Boom, click the doors.
The thing with the extra thing is that was a default QB core thing, but we removed it because even if you toggled any extra, you would have to repair your car for it to like apply, and it's also easily abusable. So there's something we used out.
So I don't think that change will be made because the police vehicles, their doors can be toggled with third eye. So if that's the RP you're looking for, I don't know how it's going to work exactly for medics, but we do our best. Bind that button to open the vehicle options menu. All right, Zachy, anything else to mention?
I think everything was covered. We went over everything together. Got everything mentioned. All I gotta say is thank you, and I appreciate your guys' donations and commitments to the community.
Yeah, you guys stepped it up big time. The amount of people that have been active on like a Tuesday night has been blowing our minds. We really thank you for contributing to the RP as a whole. We're actually finally gaining a bit of a player base back again, and that's really, really nice to see after our, like I said, like Trucker Dan said, our give up period. We were obviously very discouraged as a management team after everything that went down. We decided somewhere along the line around the V menu production development that we're not going to have a community if we don't change back to ESX QB economy, whatever you want to call it. And at that point, we decided, this is a few months ago now, but at that point, we decided to full commit, and it's finally working out. So bear with us a little bit longer. And once we get some promotional content and advertising out there, and we iron out some of these small issues, they're relatively small, easily fixable issues, we can then, continue to progress. So thank you guys all for being here. That is the conclusion of the meeting. If you guys have any other suggestions or stuff that you didn't think of on the spot, we have a suggestions channel that we are paying close attention to. That's what this meeting is basically all about, and including our issues and problems that we are currently having. So if you guys have anything else, feel free to reach out in DMs to me and or in the suggestions channel. And last but not least, before you go, hop in the city. There's a big paintball event happening right now, and you can win yourself 75K in game. Each person, I believe, will get that money. So why don't you guys go support and participate in the paintball event? It's going to happen starting now. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys. You can feel free to leave. If you need to chat with any of us individually, send us DMs.
So
Yeah, guys, come to the event.
All right.
I'm on the
Yeah,
way to the event.
75K.
I'm going back.
75K per person on the winning team.
Yo, Brian. Brian, can we can me and Blaze 2v whatever the
20 or something?
Yeah, whatever it is.
Just to make it fair.
Jeffrey, you want to drag down to a management office?
That should be good.
Yeah, I'm going bed, man. You know where I'm going.
Have a good night, guys.
Gazi.
Yes.
Are you gonna be on today?
Maybe later on this evening. Why? Do you want to